We're going to hear from Career Services at Penn and all that they have to offer here. We're also then going to shift to talking to some current Penn students and learning about how they've explored their career options, as well as internships and post-grad job searches through Career Services at Penn. I am now going to introduce David and Barbara, who are here from Career Services. Barbara Hewitt is our executive director of Career Services, and David Ross is here as our director of undergraduate career initiatives. And I will turn it over to them.
Great, thank you for that, Zoe. And David and I are both very delighted to be here. We feel it's an incredible privilege to get to work with Penn students, and we are looking forward to working with future students. Hopefully you will come next year and we will get to meet you. You could go to the next slide, Zoe. So I am Barbara Hewitt. I'm the executive director of the Career Services Office. David, do you want to say hello?
Certainly. I'm David Ross, the Director of Undergraduate Career Initiatives here at Penn.
So I'm going to give a really quick overview of the career services that we advise. We could talk about this for an hour, but I know what you really want to probably do is hear from our students. So I'm going to keep it pretty short. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of data on the outcomes that our Penn students have. You'll see that they go on and do all kinds of really interesting things. And also show you where you can follow up if you want to in the future to find some additional data. So lots of Penn students come to college and they may know exactly what they want to do, and that's great. Other students come to college and they have no idea what they want to do. That is also great. College is a time to explore and kind of see what's out there in the world, and we are happy to help you with that. We spend a lot of time doing individual career advising with students to talk with students about what kind of paths they might want to pursue, what kind of internships might be interesting. We have a team that works with students interested in going to graduate school or professional school, like medical school. So really any career-related question, we are more than happy to help students with. We also do mock interviews so that you can practice with us if you have an interview coming up and you want to practice with someone when there's a little less at stake than actually getting the job. We help with things like networking, salary negotiation when you get an offer for an internship or full-time. And certainly we do a lot of document reviews, whether that is resumes, cover letters, or graduate school personal statements. We have a team of about 15 full-time career advisors that work professionally in our office, but we also have a really amazing group of peer career advisors. And these are folks that you can come in and talk to. They do a lot of things like resume reviews. They can help you figure out what resources might be helpful to you in our office, and just talk generally with you about getting started in your career or internship search. We do a lot of workshops and career panels each year, typically about 300 a year. That could be really nuts and bolts kind of things like interviewing tips or how to network, to things that are based on different careers and industries. So maybe, careers in the finance industry or careers in the nonprofit. If you aren't able, we do meet with students virtually or in person, depending on whatever the student's preference is. But we also do a lot of the document reviews just through an online portal. So if you feel like you don't have time to come in, you could submit that and we will send you written feedback. Next page, please. As I mentioned, we have a team that does a lot with graduate professional school advising, working individually with students. They are happy to help with any kind of graduate or professional school, but certainly a lot of the work they do is in the pre-law and pre-health and pre-med fields. I thought I'd give you just some quick statistics on how Penn students do in particularly law and medical school. So for the class of fall of 2022, which is the last class that we have data on, 82 of Penn students and alumni who applied to begin medical school in fall of 22 were accepted, compared to the national average of 43%. And for law schools, 85% of Penn students and alumni were accepted, compared to 70% nationally. So we have really great outcomes for students who want to pursue further education after finishing their undergraduate degrees here. Next page. We also have a lot of online resources that we pay for you to have access to 24 hours a day. I'll just mention a few of them. Handshake is our main career services platform that has all of our workshops, our events. It has about 200,000 jobs and internships that were posted on it for Penn students last year. We do career fairs through that, so lots and lots of great resources, and that's your first place to stop if you're looking to find career services resources. Once you have a Penn key, you can access Handshake, and that'll be available to you from freshman year on. We also have some industry-based resources. Exponent, for example, helps students prepare for interviews in technical fields like software development or project management. Management Consultant does the same thing for consulting interviews. They have case interviews that are very specific kind of interview, and it's a great resource to practice for those. InterStride is a great new resource for international students to help them. Sometimes international students have some additional challenges in the job search because of visa issues, or maybe just being less familiar with the job search. So InterStride is a great resource to provide some extra help there. And Going Global kind of does the opposite. It's a really good resource for US-based students who may want to work abroad. We also have our own podcast, CS Radio. So every week we have a new episode of that comes out. And of course, we're very active on social media, particularly Instagram, and we have a great YouTube channel that has all kinds of our workshops that we've recorded that you can watch after the fact. Next slide. In addition to helping students figure out what they want to do in terms of career advising and career exploration, we also feel like it's really important that we help connect you with employers who would like to hire you for internships and full-time jobs. So we have Penn interview schedules where employers will interview Penn students either in person in our recruiting suite, which you see here, but we also have virtual schedules for employers that may not make it to Penn, but who want to specifically interview Penn students virtually. That's become much more popular since the pandemic. We have a lot of employer presentations if you want to just learn more about an employer or perhaps network with some individuals from that employer. Some of those are on campus and are Penn only. We also have a fair number of employers who may invite multiple schools to a particular presentation. There's a lot of those. We had hundreds last year. You can't go to all of them, but it's a great opportunity to just see the breadth of what's out there and to begin to know more about different opportunities. We also have both in-person and virtual career fairs. Typically, we do about 10 of them a year. And as I mentioned before, we have typically about 200,000 jobs and internship listings posted on our Handshake platform for students. Next page. So I'm going to just end here with a little bit of data about what the class of 2023, the class who just graduated, is telling us that they're doing as their first destination after graduate school. I will mention that this data is preliminary. We just put some stuff together for Family Weekend, which was last week. We will continue to collect data for the next 3 or 4 weeks. We typically close a survey about 6 months after graduation. So this probably will stay pretty similar, but it might change a little bit as we continue to connect with some students who graduated last year just to finalize their plans. So you'll see our outcomes are great. Most of our undergraduate students tend to go into the workforce right after graduation, about 76% last year, and about another 16% that went on immediately to further education. If you look further down the road, we find lots of students and alumni will take a gap year, 2, 3, 4 years, and then go back to school afterwards. So the continuing education down the road is much higher, but immediately most of our students like to get some of that work experience first. We still had about 5% of students that were seeking jobs from last year's class. I imagine as we do a little bit more outreach over the next couple of weeks, that will go down. In the past couple of years, it's been more like 3.5% and 4.5% when we closed the survey. The median starting salary was over $100,000. That's not including bonuses that lots of our students get, either sign-on or annual bonuses. So you see that there's a pretty robust salary that lots of our students are making when they graduate. Next slide. This gives you an idea of employment by industry and what fields that our graduates go into. This data is actually from the class of 2022 because we haven't totally finalized cleaning all the data that we have from last year's class, but it doesn't tend to change dramatically year to year. Typically, financial services is one of our more popular industries, with about a third of undergraduates going into that area. There's a range there. They could be doing investment banking, sales and trading, private equity, asset management, kind of a range. So, but it is a popular area. Consulting is also very popular. About 20% of our students typically go into that. Again, it sounds like one field, but it could be people doing technical consulting, healthcare consulting, general strategy consulting. So there's a range even within that subfield. Technology is a growing area of interest. Of course, lots of our engineering students go into technology, but also students in Wharton and the college as well. Healthcare is popular, and then you'll see all kinds of other industries that smaller numbers of students tend to go into. Everything from education to nonprofit, pharmaceuticals, retail. So there are really a range of things that you can do. It just depends on what you're interested in, and we're happy to help you explore those options. Next slide. This is just giving you an idea of some of our employers that hire most of our students, or higher numbers of students in each of the various industries. And you can see they are pretty well-known firms. Consulting, the big three, McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, are our top three employers in that industry. Tech, we have places like Amazon, Microsoft, Bloomberg. Finance, JP Morgan, Goldman, Morgan Stanley. So lots of really high-quality employers that students are really excited about. Next. And then a little bit about the students who went on for further education right after graduation. Engineering and medicine sometimes flip back and forth. They're pretty close. Obviously, lots of our students go to med school. Some go to dental school, or vet school is included in that as well. The engineering students, often they are students who are doing an engineering undergraduate degree here and submatriculate to get a master's, if there's a way of shortening that between the undergraduate and the master's. So that is also a relatively popular option. But students also go on to law degrees, get PhDs, master's programs. Again, quite a big range. And certainly, if you look further down the road, 5 years or so, you're going to see alumni that are going, again, for further education after they've worked for a few years. Next. If you want to find out more specifically about our outcomes data, you can go to this website. We have really great information for the last 5 years on the website. This is an interactive outcomes report that uses Power BI, so you can play around to see what people with different majors did or what geographic areas people went into. The data from 2023 is not up here yet because, as I said, we're still collecting data and we'll be cleaning it for the next month or two, but it will be up there in the spring. And then if you go to the next page, we are just about ready to put up a new industry report. And this is going to be great because you can sort not only by industry, but also things like job function. So you might want to see what people are interested in marketing, what industries do they go into, for example. This should be up in another week or two. It's going to be on the same page. So that would be a really great tool if you just want to see more specifically what Penn students have done after graduation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David, and he's going to introduce our students.
Thank you, Barb. So we thought that it might be helpful to provide an opportunity to hear from the wonderful students here at Penn. So we wanted to start with a few questions that we thought would answer some things that might be on your mind, and then we'll shift to additional questions from there. So you'll see a quick snapshot of all of our panelists here. But we thought we'd start the conversation by letting our panelists introduce themselves. So for each of our panelists, if you wouldn't mind sharing your year in school, school of enrollment, major concentration, any significant activities, and anything else you'd like to share. So if we can start with Catherine, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine Comer. I'm a current sophomore in Wharton, concentrating in business analytics. Around campus, I'm involved in Black Wharton. I'm involved in the Undergraduate Sports Business Club, as well as the Penn Sports Analytics Group. And I'm personally interested in pursuing a sports business career.
Thank you, Catherine. Alex, can you go next?
All right, yeah. Hi, I'm Alex Cho. I'm a junior studying computer science and Cs with a concentration in AI and a minor in engineering entrepreneurship. I'm also pretty active in the entrepreneurship scene on campus. I'm a part of VIPA, which was previously the Weiss Tech House, and I do a lot of work with founders around campus.
Thank you, Alex. And now Rachel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel, and I'm a current senior in the College of Arts and Sciences, and I'm majoring in economics and minor in statistics. And actually, I'm a part of the career services team, so I work with Barbara and David as a peer career advisor. And other than that, I am involved in Korea Undergraduate Business Society, Penn Climate Ventures, College Cognoscenti. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. And Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam Pasco. I'm a senior in the college studying communications through Annenberg with a concentration in data and network science and a minor in statistics through Wharton. On campus, I was a member of the sprint football team. I was a varsity athlete. I'm also the program director at WQHS Radio, the student-run radio station here on campus. And I'm also part of the career services team. I run the podcast that Barbara mentioned, so definitely check that out.
Thank you, Sam. So our first question, we would love to hear more about how you've spent your summers during your time here at Penn. So if each person could share a little bit about their summer experiences, organization, position, overview of the opportunity, and maybe the most significant things you took away from those experiences, that would be great. And for this question, if we can start with Alex.
Yeah, sure. So 2 summers ago, my freshman summer, I worked for a startup as a software engineering intern at a startup called TopJock NFT. I did a lot of work in Web3. And I kind of learned from that one that, there's always a way to do something. And sometimes you need to get a little bit creative to get the job done. And last summer, I worked for Lockheed Martin's Rotary Mission Systems in Moorestown, New Jersey. And at this job, I was working on the Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense System. So sort of like a big 180 from the startups. So I kind of went from an area of very few restrictions to an area with probably like some of the biggest bureaucracy out there. And I really, really valued both experiences, and I learned a lot from both of them.
Great. Sam, can you go next?
Yeah, so my freshman summer, I was the sports director at a community radio station in San Francisco. It was a continuation of some of the work I had done in high school. It's really cool. I was covering the San Francisco Giants in the press box, had a lot of great experience within journalism and a chance to continue that. My sophomore summer, I took a remote role with this fantasy sports information company called RotoWire, heading up one of their podcasts and learning more about their business. Also did some work with them on their Snapchat show and bringing them to a younger audience. And then just this past summer, my junior year, I was also in San Francisco. I was an e-commerce intern at Williams-Sonoma, working on their international growth and some marketing strategies as a corporate web merchandising intern. It was a great experience. The whole internship was centered around doing a big presentation to the C-suite at the end of the summer, and mine went great. It was talking about AI and using that for some creative video marketing that they're going to hopefully implement. So that was really great, and I will be returning there after graduation.
Great. Rachel?
Yeah, so for my freshman summer, I did actually a few different roles. So I was a research assistant for the PERM program, which stands for Penn Undergraduate Research Mentoring Program. So it was a remote role, and I studied income inequality with a faculty member and also with a partner. And I learned a lot about data analysis, and early on, I learned the value of research. And since Penn is a very great research institution, I was surprised initially that even freshmen and sophomores can partake in those opportunities, but it was really valuable. And other than that, during my freshman summer, I also worked as a business development intern for a startup, as well as a nonprofit intern. So both experiences were also very valuable. I learned being in a very fast-paced environment. And then for my sophomore summer, I worked at Accenture in Philly as a consulting intern. So there I learned remote and kind of work-life balance and working within a team, and also enjoying communication with a lot of co-workers and co-interns. And then finally, last summer, this past summer, I actually worked at Citi in New York as a equity research summer associate, which I will be returning to after graduation. And I learned a lot about financial analysis and valuation, and also a lot of great presentation skills as I completed a stock pitch project.
Thank you, Rachel and Catherine.
So for my freshman summer, I really wanted to have a nice balance of having some fun, but also being able to develop myself academically. So I was able to complete a abroad program. I went to Lisbon, Portugal. I was able to take some data science classes, but also getting immersed in Portuguese culture. It was awesome. And then later that summer, I was also able to intern as a data science intern for a Portuguese tech legal startup, cleaning their data and just kind of really getting introduced to their mission, which was really fun.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing such interesting and a variety of experiences. The next question we have is about career interests. So think back to your time before you started at Penn and your interest at that point in time, and think about where you're at now and how your interests have changed. So if each person could share a little bit about their initial interests coming into Penn, how your interests have changed, and maybe what was it about your experience thus far that led to those changes? And if we can start, Sam, on this question.
Yeah, for sure. So coming into Penn, I was really interested in sports media, and I still am. I still enjoy that as a passion, but really fixated on the sports aspect. But now at Penn, being exposed to a lot of different coursework and more analytics classes as well, I've kind of transitioned that interest into kind of more of a broader media and technology interest. Also looking at macro trends in general, generative AI, that field expanding. It's really been interesting and exciting to learn from professors that have been on the leading edge with that, and really been guiding me through independent studies and thesis projects with that. So it's kind of transitioned from just more narrow into kind of more of the broader field of analytics, technology, and media, and how they all kind of intersect. So Penn's definitely kind of opened my eyes to a lot more within the general interest I've been kind of targeting coming into Penn.
Thanks, Sam. Rachel.
Yeah, so coming into Penn, I was really interested in actually software engineering because I was actually a AP computer science TA during my high school year. But then the research program that I partook in during my freshman summer was actually very transformative and pivotal because I became very interested in the financial services sector. And while I did a consulting internship during my sophomore summer, I think what's very important is to also realize some pathways are not always the best fit, and closing doors is as important as opening new ones. So I think it's great to have a variety of different experiences, and Penn throughout career services or different resources and opportunities and upperclassmen access really helped me open my eyes to new different types of fields, and not just in the more popular roles within a bank, such as investment banking or sales and trading, but different pathways as well. So I kind of landed on the role of equity research, which is something that I am planning to pursue.
Thank you, Rachel. Catherine.
I think I kind of have an interesting case where I did kind of know what I wanted to do when I came here. I came here and I wanted to do sports business, but coming to Penn, I did really learn just how vast of industry sports business is. So I have narrowed down specifically what I wanted to do, more of like on the statistics, analytics side. I've taken a lot of statistics courses so far that have really like increased my knowledge and really helped me understand the behind the scenes of what goes on in sports. And then I've also been able to join clubs that have also introduced me to a lot of people in the industry who have been super helpful in helping me kind of figure out what I want to specifically do and also guiding me towards getting there.
And Alex.
Yeah, so when I came to Penn, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I spent a bit of time trying to get into consulting, getting into project management, and thank God there were a lot of clubs around campus that I was able to try it out, figure out whether it's for me or not. And I ended up in the startup sector, tried that out, and liked some bits, didn't like other bits. Then I got into the defense sector, liked some bits, and then there were some other bits too. And now I'm sort of looking at pursuing something in an area in the defense industry, because I feel like it has a lot of you have a big sense of purpose in the industry, but something that's fast moving like a startup. So that's sort of how I've come to my career goals.
Excellent. So as you reflect on your time at Penn thus far and the different experiences you've had, how would you say they've prepared you for what you anticipate your initial career goals will be? And Catherine, do you want to start us off with this?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I've been able to connect with a lot of Penn alumni who are in like the sports industry, and just being able to talk to them and get their specific like experiences from their job has been super helpful. They can really tell you like what skills that you need to work in the industry, where your strengths are and where your weaknesses may be, and how to develop those. So I think there's been a lot of I've been able to have a lot of like hands-on perspective that has really helped me place myself in that role and know what I have to do to get there.
Alex.
Yeah, I think that just the pre-professional environment around Penn has been really, really important, especially for me. Everyone's always thinking about recruitment for a good amount of time. So it's kind of hard for it not to rub off. So it really prioritizes that for me. And I thought that that was really great. And because of that, you get a lot of experience from people who have worked in a bunch of different fields. You learn a lot about, I guess, what these fields kind of entail, the skills you need for them, and I guess the workflow. And I think that was really helpful.
Rachel.
Yes, for me, I think it's definitely both the technical skills aspect that Penn coursework really prepares you for, as well as the mentorship opportunities and connection opportunities that Penn allows for. So for the skills aspect, I was able to take a lot of courses in the college and also at Wharton, where I could develop my skills in R or Excel and other programming languages. And I think these experiences really gave me a competitive edge when formulating my resume and talking to interviewers. And then for the second part, I think Penn has very established alumni network that is very keen on helping current undergraduates. So whenever I reach out to someone on LinkedIn or my Penn, which is the database to which is a comprehensive database that has all alumni and current students, I believe. I was able to reach out to a few of them and arrange coffee chats, and they were very receptive. And also another mentorship program that I found very helpful is the Ben Connect mentorship program within the College of Arts and Sciences. So I actually got matched to a mentor in the financial services field who was able to talk to me and give me great practical advice for recruiting.
And Sam.
Yeah, I'd echo the same things. Coursework and the guidance from both teachers and the community overall has been really helpful. Coursework wise, within my major, communications at Annenberg, there's a lot of opportunities to really kind of make it what you want. The independent study program was great. I had a really great professor to help guide me through that, and it had a lot of guidance, but also a lot of freedom to decide where I wanted to go with the project and what I wanted to be about, how to best to research it. Additionally, there's also a communications internship program through Annenberg that I really enjoyed, where I got real life experience. I was able to actually be an intern during the year at a PR firm in Philadelphia in Center City and get credit for that, and then weekly discuss that with other classmates also doing a similar internship. So a lot of the coursework has been really helpful. And then also just the overall guidance, talking to the career services department, being a part of that, understanding, industry versus function. There's been a lot of nuances I didn't really realize or think about that a lot of career services personnel has really helped me kind of open my eyes to and realize how best to approach in a thoughtful way where I'm doing something I want to do and a place where I want to be. So it's been really great.
Thank you, Sam. So the next question, as you think about the many opportunities to get involved at Penn, activities, organizations, events, and many other great things, can each person share how you approach balancing work with personal care? And if we can start with Alex with this.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a big workload. Like I'm not going to deny that, but you kind of have to tell yourself, like, sometimes you need to take a couple hours to yourself. Sometimes you need to take like a mental health day to recover. I guess it's just important to make sure that everything is in moderation and that you make sure that you're still getting everything done that you need to get done.
And Sam.
Yeah, I definitely there's definitely the work hard, play hard mindset here, but I think the resources around, even like different spaces, there's a lot of different spaces on campus to go to study somewhere else, to take a break somewhere else. Watch a lot of Netflix too when I'm on my breaks, when you have the relaxation, enjoy those, watching Suits right now, and then you get back to the grind, get back to the books. But having that line between working and playing in that sense, where when you're on break, and when you're working, you're focused, has really helped me kind of have boundaries between both of them and have both be a lot more successful.
Catherine.
Yeah, for me, it really comes in planning. Like I'm a serial planner. As long as I know when everything is going to get done, when I have my time for work, I can also then schedule in my time for breaks without having to worry about, oh, when is everything going to get done? Am I falling behind? So really just making sure that I have everything on track has been really the key to helping me kind of like separate my work life from my personal life.
And Rachel.
Yeah, similarly to Catherine, I really like to plan things out in advance. And I think a lot of students at Penn use Google Calendar to kind of organize their life around the different activities and coursework and exams and assignments coming up. And another thing that I think is personally very important to me is trying to find activities that are really meaningful to you. So I would like advise any new and incoming students to try to have a little bit of soul searching and look deeply into the values that you have. And for me, I think, especially as a senior now, I really care about mentorship for underclassmen and high school students. So I try to seek opportunities that are relevant to those interests and values that I have. So it doesn't really feel like work to me. It feels like I'm doing something very meaningful to myself. So I think that's another way to help with the workload.
So as you think about the time that you spent exploring opportunities, searching and applying for positions, and preparing for your summers, what advice might you have on the best time for students to think about connecting with career services? At what point in time do you think it might be helpful for them? And let's start with Sam.
I think in general, sooner the better. I mean, I approached career services actually for the work study role. It's on my sophomore year. But my freshman year, I was a COVID freshman, where it wasn't even here on campus, but I would have tried to reach out sooner. I think not necessarily in the sense that you have to rush anything, but just it's really a great, very friendly group. And they provide a lot of insight from just getting your resume together, seeing what you have and where you want to go in terms of just interests, mock interviews, just practicing. I think sooner the better is what I would recommend.
Rachel?
Yeah, I agree with Sam. And I think because just the industry trend, especially in finance and consulting, the companies are advancing their recruiting timelines to be sooner and sooner. I think it's great if you can kind of come into career services earlier, as soon as possible, and try to think about the different career options that you have, whether it's talking through your friends or upperclassmen. I don't think you have to be necessarily super pressured, but at career services, not only there are full-time advisors, but there are peer career advisors like me. So if you feel a little bit more uncomfortable talking to maybe a more experienced person, then you can always just schedule a casual appointment with one of us, and we can help you out with anything that you might have.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to echo what Sam said. The sooner the better. And again, no pressure. But I feel like even if, like, I know that engineering recruiting starts a little bit after the semester begins. So in that like month or so that you have before a lot of the applications open up, career services is really great at helping you sort of plan out your timeline. If you're waiting on any offers, how to deal with them. And they're also really great for sort of talking about your ultimate career strategies, like your 5-year plans, what you're trying to do in the future, and I guess the best steps that you can take to get there.
And Catherine.
Yeah, just to repeat, definitely the earlier the better. One of the first things I went to career services for was I didn't even have a formal resume coming into college. So I was like, what am I supposed to give everyone who's asking? I went to career services. We helped build it together. It was amazing. It really reflected who I was at the time and then also what I was trying to do, which was amazing. I also went to them for some LinkedIn help at the beginning of the year. That was also something that wasn't super built built up for me. So they can definitely help you with anything like related to like your personal brand. If you don't even know what you want to do yet, they can really just help you kind of combine all your experiences so far and make that the best reflection of you.
Great. So as you think about your life as a student at Penn, we would love to hear, what do you find the most appealing about your experience as a Penn student? So why don't we start with Rachel with this?
Yeah, definitely. So I think what I find most appealing about Penn is just the diversity of people that just come to campus. And coming from, I guess, less diverse high school, I think I really appreciate connecting with students that are all across, come from different places, different backgrounds. And I think there's a lot of value in learning from someone who just comes from a different place as you. And I think I guess to tie it a little bit to like professional wise, I think it also helps you get a better like interpersonal communication skills. And I think Penn's a great way to develop those skills.
Alex.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I also think that just the diversity of people there means that you're definitely going to be able to find like your niche. So for me, that was startups, and there are a ton of resources and people that are interested in entrepreneurship doing incredible things. And it's really interesting because you can find a lot of inspiration from the people that are just sitting right next to you in class. And that's something that I think it really makes Penn special.
Yeah.
I'd also echo the people are great. There's such a just different variety of people, and they do want to help. Another thing I'll say though, is actually the place too. The campus is great, having both the on-campus experience, almost like its own little bubble, but then also having the city right there too is something that I've really enjoyed, where you get the best of both worlds and where you can enjoy, the work hard, play hard mindset, but then also can escape into the city and experience a really cool East Coast city as well.
Catherine.
I think along with the diversity, what I also appreciated here is that you'll meet a lot of like-minded people, a lot of like driven people, a lot of people that like they really have like goals for themselves and like they have really that like drive, it was really nice to have a community of people like that who kind of have similar visions as you, maybe not going to the same place, but getting to the same level. It was nice to have a community of people to bond around that way.
So the next question is focused on support for students. Can each of you talk a little bit about resources that you've leveraged or found helpful in terms of providing support here at Penn and maybe access to faculty? So why don't we start with Alex?
Yeah, well, I mean, for one, career services is fantastic. For any questions you have regarding your professional career. There are also a lot of other options. I know that Penn has a lot of resources available for mental health consulting, and you can also speak a lot with your professors as well. Professors are always available. Well, most of the time they're available after class, so you can always find time to talk to them. They hold tons of office hours, a lot of TAs. It's really, I guess you can never really find yourself in a position where there isn't an opportunity to get help on something you're struggling with.
And Catherine.
Yeah, just to echo that, all of the professors I've had this year have been super available. They've like encouraged students to come up to them, and even if it's not class related, just to like talk to them, just engage with them, because they have so much knowledge that they want to share with their students. And they're also all super passionate about what they're teaching. So if you come to them and it's like, hey, I want to learn more about finance, they could talk for hours and hours and teach you everything you want to know about finance. So they're super helpful, they're super passionate, and they can really answer all of your questions. And if they don't, they definitely know someone who can answer your questions, whether it's alumni, a fellow professor. They're like a big connector within the community.
Rachel.
Yeah, I would echo the same thoughts as Alex and Catherine. I guess a few resources at Penn are the Weingarten Tutoring Center. So these are upperclassmen, mentors, and I guess like student tutors that will help students out, especially in those large introductory classes like maybe microeconomics or biology. So these tutors will have gone through the courses that you have. And if you have any questions about like the homework or have an upcoming exam, then they will get with you and and teach you about those things, about the concepts that were initially confusing. And another new initiative I think that Penn is starting is the Mentor Meals program, where you can grab a lunch at the inn at Penn with a mentor of your choice, whether that's faculty or a peer advisor or your RA, residential advisor, college houses. I think it's a great way to connect and learn from them in a more casual setting. So definitely the university offers cool resources like that.
And Sam.
I definitely recommend connecting with the pre-major, and then I guess once you're assigned your major advisor. They were really helpful in terms of navigating what classes to take. It can be a little overwhelming at times because there's so many different options. You may have a lot of different interests, not know which way to kind of start your path and journey at Penn. And my advisor was great in terms of helping me navigate that, deciding when to take certain classes, when not to take certain classes. So definitely connecting with the major, and then if you have a minor advisor as well to help navigate the course load.
So we've shared some information on the pursuits of our students and the areas of interest that are most popular. Would love to hear everybody's opinion on advice you would give for students who have interests that maybe are not as popular amongst the Penn community. How might they navigate those searches? What resources might you recommend? What advice would you have for people that have interests that are a little bit different than what the majority of our students go into? Rachel, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I think for those students, there's definitely like different niches that students take, and obviously finance and consulting, as you guys presented before, are some of the more popular choices. But I know personally a lot of my friends are also interested in like healthcare or like nanotechnology. And whenever I get these students in my peer career advisor appointment, I point out the plethora of resources that career services mentioned again, not to repeat myself, but there are just specific resources and industry job boards that career services has very like holistically. So I think a great place to start is by that. Another way you can navigate this process is also by looking up on LinkedIn, whether you have a company or a keyword in mind. You can just have it in the search field and then filter it with Penn alumni specifically or Penn current students. So from that way, you can kind of connect with them and learn more about their experiences recruiting.
Kath?
I think a good place to start would be in kind of like clubs that kind of maybe match that interest a little bit. I know for me, starting in the sports business club was really nice. I didn't know there was such a community for people that wanted to work in sports business. So it was nice to kind of have that as a starting point for a bunch of references that I could talk to and like a kind of a small network that I could start with. And then we began like sharing with ourselves, like, hey, here's a job in sports business that you got that maybe we'd like to check out, or like here's this opportunity. So I think maybe starting in like a social sense that can really expand to a more like pre-professional sense.
Alex.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that's been said already. And yeah, career services also does a fantastic job with all the career fairs. They tend to put together a really diverse offering as to the types of companies that are coming, the types of roles that they're offering as well. I know recently, like they're doing a semiconductor one as well. And I've got some friends in materials engineering that are really, really excited for that. And on top of that, like not only can you search on LinkedIn for alumni that are working at certain companies that you're interested in, you also have access to the alumni directory. And you can sort of search basically over like the last however many years, alumni and where they ended up. So if you want to talk to somebody from a specific company that graduated from Penn, you're going to be able to find somebody.
And Sam.
Yeah, I definitely think like the search part is definitely where the variety and diversity of people come through, because I being a media person that's interested in the media area, there definitely wasn't necessarily the outward advertisement of the opportunities available. But talking to people, you do find them actually junior year. There's the Ward Industry Exploration Program, where 5 days over spring break, you actually fly out to Los Angeles with a cohort and explore different studios. We explored Spotify, Amazon Music, Paramount Pictures, Disney. So I didn't even know that was really available at Penn. Didn't think that would be an opportunity, but it was. Talking to people, applied, and was able to have a great time and use that to learn more about the careers I have. So definitely recommend connecting with people, and they probably know more than you do, and you get a chance to share that and learn that from them.
Great. Sometimes people wonder about making decisions on what to study, what to major, what to concentrate in, how to focus their academics, and the connection between that and careers. So in career services, it doesn't necessarily mean that your major has to be your career, what you pursue. It can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But as each of you think individually about your decision making, what to study here at Penn, and how that might relate to career pursuits, can you share a little bit more about your thought process and how you made those decisions? And if we can start with Catherine.
Yeah, so I came into Penn with the intention of concentrating in business analytics. We don't actually have to declare our concentrations in Wharton until well, we can do it as soon as the end of our sophomore year, but you can do it anytime after that as well. So I kind of took my first 2 semesters to kind of take classes, see what I really wanted to do, see where I kind of fit in all of the concentrations that Wharton has to offer. And that gave me a really good opportunity to kind of introduce myself to each concentration, see which ones I like, see which ones I don't like. So I do like business analytics, might be leaning more towards stat, but it was a really great opportunity to take advantage of all like the technical work that I could do to kind of see where I fit myself.
Alex?
I feel like for me, it was a lot of, I guess, following a lot of industry trends and seeing which ones I liked and didn't like. So for at least the early part of while I was at Penn, I was really, really into blockchain. I mean, I still am, but I got to explore the blockchain industry in the startup that I was in. I got to understand what it's like to work there. Did a lot of hackathons in the blockchain space. Sort of determined like I love the technology, but I feel like it's not yet for me. And then there are always a lot of classes available at Penn. I was able to take a blockchain course actually to sort of confirm this is something that I'm into. And I'm sort of making a pivot now to artificial intelligence, which Penn also has an outstanding amount of classes for. And right now, with a concentration in artificial intelligence, it's something you don't really need to declare super duper early. You just sort of have to plan for. And Penn does a great job at helping you get there, because there are a lot of major advisors out there as well that help you put together your schedule and make sure that you can get the concentrations that you want to.
And Sam.
Yeah, I chose my major because I think it's really something I enjoyed doing in high school, coming into Penn, and also enjoyed the initial coursework before you have to decide. I really enjoyed that coursework, but also like playing to my strengths, but also something I could do well in and really kind of thrive and kind of dive into that coursework. And I think in terms of it transferring to, does it look good on a resume? Does this good work? At the end of the day, it's more about transferable skills. Can you communicate that to employers that you know what you can do? And if you don't, if you're willing to learn and you learn how you learn and how to best help them, even if you have more of a unique interest in the majors and maybe the direct thing that they're looking for, but you still have those skills, that's really what they're looking for. That's really more what you want to communicate that you have, no matter the major.
And Rachel.
Yeah, so similar to Sam, I also kind of played with my strengths a bit, and because I like the more analytical nature, I chose economics pretty early on, but you don't have to declare your major until the end of sophomore year for the college, at least. So you have definitely the freedom to see which classes interest you the most if you are coming in undecided, and a lot of people actually do. Also, I think there's an interesting statistic that what people put on their application to Penn, the majority of people actually end up choosing something different. I am part of that cohort as well. And there are different opportunities to explore majors, not only through the coursework, but also in majors and more dinners and major fairs. So you can hear current students and how they view the major, the different opportunities that they can receive, the different professors that they have worked with. So those are great opportunities to learn more and just explore early on. And to speak to the point about the major versus what your professional path is, I think definitely there's some association with some certain majors such as economics leading to finance or consulting, but I don't think that necessarily has to be true for anyone. There's people going into government, public sector, and some people also pursuing further graduate research. And I have, for example, a friend who's majoring in criminology, and she's actually pre-med. So I think the major does not always have to align with your professional interests.
Very well said. So we're getting close to the end of time. Just want to ask one last question. If everybody could answer 30 seconds or less with the first thing that comes to mind, what advice would you give for prospective students as they think about how Penn could potentially prepare them for future career opportunities? Let's start with Catherine.
First thing that I can think of is to really do your research. I think one of the first things I did when I decided I want to go to Penn is I looked at all of the opportunities they had, all of like the organizations that they had, all the initiatives to really see like where I and like my career interests could kind of align with what they have to offer. And then if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. Everyone is always super responsive. They really want to help make sure that you fit well when you're coming to this school.
Alex.
Yeah, I think that you just need to talk to people, network, and just meeting new people, talking to them. Everybody's really willing to help. And I certainly think that, yes, doing your research, finding out about certain events, certain programs, that's some of the best work that you can do for yourself.
Sam.
I think just trying out a lot of different things. Penn feels very high stakes and lots going on. But again, trying something, joining a club, doing a work study. If it doesn't work out, you keep moving on, and that's fine. But if it does work out, then you understand more about what you enjoy, what aspects of it you want to keep doing. You even learn too, if it doesn't work out, what aspects you don't want to keep doing going on after Penn. So definitely just try doing a lot and embracing the community.
And Rachel.
Yeah, I echo pretty much what everyone just said, but also to talk to people and also remember to take care of yourself. Penn can feel like a lot, especially if you are kind of new to this like environment. But I think while the general community is pretty professional. People also like to have fun here, and it's not all about it. Like the internships and jobs will not be like the end of the world if you don't get into like your top choice. There's like always different resources and there's a lot of great companies. So I would say like also to not put your eggs in one basket, you have to really diversify yourself and invest in different companies throughout the recruiting process. And yeah.
All right, thank you all so much. We have a couple more resources for all of you going forward. If you want to continue to connect with us and tune into one of our virtual programs, the link is there. I would encourage you to do a virtual tour if you like, as well as one of our virtual information sessions if you want more information on Penn in general, as well as the college application process. I would also encourage you to look at our various social media platforms. We have YouTube as well as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and now TikTok. So yeah, please follow us and stay tuned on our website for more virtual programs as well. Thank you so much.